Today we're going to begin our series on 5 reasons to do Tai Chi. And the number one reason that we're going to talk about today is balance. And we talked about stability in our movement last week. And stability is that ability to, when you've been disturbed, to come back to a balanced position. So it is important to work on balance. It's important to work on stability as well. And Tai Chi has been proven to improve your balance. We're going to start with a few things that are going to use Tai Chi, but it's not couched in terms of Tai Chi. And I want to give these to you because some people that you might work with might not be interested in coming to a Tai Chi class. Maybe it's somebody you know, maybe a friend or family that they could improve their balance. They need to work on their balance, but they're not going to come to a Tai Chi class. So these are some things that you can do using Tai Chi principles to help them. So one of them is, if you have clients and you have a Bosu, right, and you ask them to do forward lunges on a Bosu, oftentimes they'll do this and they'll be falling all over the place because they're not really thinking about their balance. And one of the ways that you can help them is to talk about their columns. Talk about empty and full. If you have your client, just think about one big long column down this left side of your body. And now fill that column completely. And then empty the right side. So you have them think about full and empty. And now keeping this side full, step forward onto that Bosu. And keeping this left full, come back. So it slows them down, and you're obviously using Tai Chi principles, but you don't have to tell them that it's Tai Chi. You could also do a side lunge on a Bosu, and again, people are falling all over the place. They're either pushing too hard off, or they're not keeping their columns intact. They're leaning over. One of the things that you can do is, again, teach them about columns. Say, keep this side full, the left side. Now, put this right foot onto the Bosu, but you're not actually putting weight on that Bosu yet. Now, I want you to just drop your weight, lower that center of gravity, and now bring your weight over to this right side. Then drop that center of gravity, come back, let that right leg become empty, and then come back. Again, think about letting them just touch, lower that center of gravity, bring all the weight over to this right side, lowering that center of gravity, come back. And obviously, we're working, those are similar movements to snake creeps and return the tiger to the mountain. So you can do these with your Tai Chi class as well. It will help them with that snake creeps. It'll help build up that flexibility, help them understand that substantial and insubstantial change. Then you can do something, I'm actually going to get rid of the Bosu here. You can do something that especially with someone who is very compromised in their balance, just bringing one foot forward, having them rock forward and rock back. Now, when you ask someone to do that, typically they'll do this, and they'll rock with their upper body leading the rocking motion. So what you want to do is have them put their hands on their shoulders first. Tell them to rock forward, bringing the weight over that front leg, but don't let the shoulders come in front of the toes. Then rock back and don't let the shoulders go backwards in back of the foot. So rocking forward, rocking back. Once they get that idea, have them put their hands on their dantian, but you don't have to call it the dantian. Their hands below their belly button. And say, now focus that movement. You're still keeping your shoulders not going forward. You're leading the motion from your belly button, basically. And yes, I am lifting my front toe and I am lifting my back heel for this rocking motion. But this actually helps people in their walking to feel their weight shift. And what is it really? It's pushing chi, where we keep ourselves rooted and grounded. We don't lift that back heel, but it truly is Tai Chi as you're doing that rocking back and forth. Let me get a cone here. One more of these ideas for you. Stepping over, here, let me pull it back just a little bit. Stepping over a cone. This could be, practicing balance, stepping over something. And truly, you can have them just step back and forth. That's fine. But you can increase the challenge and help them with their balance in their motion by, again, saying, fill this column 100%, let this side be empty, step over, let that weight, let that water flow into this right leg, let that left leg be empty, and then lift. Pheasant stance, right? But you don't have to say it's pheasant stance. Then stepping back, let that water flow from the front into the back and lift. This is a much harder balance challenge, and it helps them with their movement so much more than just stepping over and stepping back. So I'm going to get rid of my cone for now, but we'll come back to it. Actually, I want to use it again. If you're leading a Tai Chi class or you're just practicing your own Tai Chi, you know that Chi walking is one of the best ways to really start to understand your substantial and insubstantial change, which is key to improving your balance. If I step back here, stepping forward, again, it's about the water, bringing that water forward, then bringing it back, and then bringing all the water into this left leg. Let that right leg become empty before you step forward. Rocking forward, rocking back, bringing that weight all the way onto the right. Let the water flow from the left into the right. Don't lift that left leg until it's completely empty. Slow yourself down. Really feel that substantial and insubstantial change. Don't be tempted to, oh, it's like 80% here, I can move forward. Truly let that water flow 100% into that front leg. Test yourself by standing one-legged like this and see if you truly are balanced, if this leg really is insubstantial. Pushing chi combined with chi walking is a great way to make sure that you're understanding your substantial and insubstantial as well. Come into your pushing chi. Feel that substantial and insubstantial change. Do 3 of them, and on that third pushing chi, let all the weight come onto that front leg, and then step into your next pushing chi on the other side of your body. Feel that substantial and insubstantial change. Now bring all the weight onto that right. See if you're very balanced, and then you can step forward with that left. What this does is it trains your body, it trains your brain to think about, am I straight? Is my weight where it needs to be? Am I leaning too far forward? Because you can't do that Go forward if you're leaning. By practicing pushing chi with chi walking, that's a great way to practice your balance. You know, there's so many ways to do it rather than just kicking or just pheasant stands. But standing on one leg is a good way to practice, thinking about your columns, thinking about your substantial and insubstantial. But challenge yourself, I'm going to turn towards the mirror here, instead of just doing pheasant stands side to side, which clearly can challenge your balance, but increase that challenge by doing pheasant stands and then step backwards, pheasant stands, step backwards. It's harder to control that, to control your columns, to control your movement as you're going backwards. Part of your balance is your visual system. So going forward with pheasant stands is a little bit more natural. Going backwards, you lose that visual key, and now you have to really feel the ground. You have to feel your columns. You have to feel your weight shift. Last week when we talked about stability along with balance, remember bringing yourself back into balance while you're moving, that's really truly stability. We used Part the Wild Horse's Mane, and we talked about lowering our center of gravity, really understanding that if we're too tall, if we lift, as we do that Part the Wild Horse's Mane, this is a very unstable stance. Excuse me. Even if we just have our Part the Wild Horse's Mane, we're rooted, but we haven't lowered our center of gravity, it's still a less stable stance. So practicing with Part the Wild Horse's Mane, lowering your center of gravity, keeping yourself low, using that twist step that we've talked about, bringing your dantian over that base of support, stepping forward, Part the Wild Horse's Mane, keeping yourself as low as possible so that you're not falling forward, but you are balanced and able to step, move from the dantian, and part the Wild Horse's Mane. One more step. Repulse the monkey is a great one. Again, going backwards, just like we did with our pheasant stands, we're having to step backwards. We have to think about keeping our shoulders in harmony with our hips. We have to think about letting this front leg become empty so that we can step backwards. You can increase the challenge to practice your balance by adding a kick to repulse the monkey. As you bring your weight back on this right side, lift your left leg, kick, then step backwards and complete your repulse the monkey. Let that weight shift all the way to the left now, keeping your shoulders in harmony with your hips. Lift that right leg, kick, then complete your repulse the monkey. One more, lift that left leg, kick, and step back. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to go this direction. Bringing your weight back, your left foot is forward, kick left. Then complete that motion. Now think about lowering your center of gravity, keeping it low, kick, and step back. Kick, and step back. One more. kick, and step back. Wave hands like clouds, we talked about it last week with lowering our center of gravity, understanding that substantial and insubstantial shift, letting this water flow all the way into the left, let that right leg become empty, and then shifting, letting the water flow into the right, so the left is empty and it can step out. Now, for some reason, it feels a little bit easier to stay balanced as you step laterally, but you can increase the challenge for yourself or for your students by using some props. So this is where I'm going to bring back my cones. And if you use a prop like this, where now they have to actually step over something physical. So as they do their wave hands like clouds, this leg has to be completely empty to step over that cone. Then all that weight has to come onto this left leg. Dantian has to come over that base of support so that that right leg can lift and come over that cone. Now that weight has to come into the right, step left, let that right leg become empty, bring it in, one more, stepping over, and now leave that right leg empty because then you can go back. And it's great for your brain, it's great for your body to have to move both directions. Even though we only move left in the 24 form, it's great to practice both ways. Now obviously with that substantial and insubstantial change, if someone can be cheating that substantial and insubstantial by just pulling that foot in, right? Maybe not even sliding it like that, but they're really not lifting. When you have this cone here, you can't cheat that movement. It will disturb the cone. You actually have to practice, can I stand on this leg in order to lift and bring my foot over that cone? Now I have to stand on my right to lift, step, lift. So using props like this will help you use your Tai Chi to improve your balance. The ideas of substantial and insubstantial, of moving from the Dantian, of lowering your center of gravity, and actually keeping your eyes on the horizon, all of these help you improve your balance. Let me put the cones down. So you want to utilize Tai Chi as much as you can in helping yourself improve your balance and helping your clients, your friends, your family improve their balance. But remember that they don't have to do the form. They can use those principles of Tai Chi to improve their balance.